Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is 7th of March, 12:44 a.m. As you can see, yeah. So yesterday I couldn't complete my 20 minutes of video because the storage was insufficient. So today I cleared it up and hopefully it doesn't pause in between. I didn't have the time today to re-continue. That's why I did complete my whole 20 minutes, but the video got paused in between. So sorry for that. Let's hope for the best today and continue. Yesterday we read up to page number I think we completed up to page number 8, but let's start from this chapter, the chapter before that page, and that's how and why I wrote this book. Yeah, and the book is the same, Atomic Habits, as you can see. Now let's continue. And if you have any issues in my videos, please comment down. I'm new to this and your suggestions will be helpful for me. Okay, let's start now. Let me start my timer. I'm again setting up a timer of 21 minutes and let's go. Okay, how and why I wrote this book. In November 2012, I began publishing articles at jamesclear.com. For years, I had been keeping notes about my personal experiments with habits, and I was finally ready to share some of them publicly. I began by publishing a new article every Monday and Thursday. Within a few months, the simple writing habit led to my first 1000 email subscribers, and by the end of 2013, that number had grown to more than 30,000 people. Okay. Yeah. I'd grown to more than 30,000 people. In 2014, my email list expanded to over 100,000 subscribers, which made it one of the fastest growing newsletters on the internet. I'd felt like an imposter when I began writing 2 years earlier, but now I was becoming known as an expert on habits, a new label that excited me but also felt uncomfortable. I had never considered myself a master of the topic, but rather someone who was experimenting alongside my readers. In 2015, I reached 200,000 email subscribers and signed a book deal with Penguin Random House to begin writing the book you are reading now. As my audience grew, so did my business opportunities. I was increasingly asked to speak at top companies about the science of habit formation, behavior change, and continuous improvement. I found out myself delivering keynote speeches at conferences in United States and Europe. In 2016, my articles began to appear regularly on major publications like Time, Entrepreneur, and Forbes. Incredibly, my writing was read by over 8 million people that year. Coaches in the NFL, NBA, and MLB began reading my work and sharing it with their teams. At the start of 2017, I launched the Habits Academy, which became the premier training platform for organizations and individuals interested in building better habits in life and work. Fortune 500 companies and growing startups began to enroll their leaders and train their staff. In total, over 10,000 leaders, managers, coaches, and teachers have graduated from the Habits Academy, and my work with them has taught me an incredible amount about what it takes to make habit work in the real world. As I put the finishing touches in this book in 2018, jamesclear.com is receiving millions of visitors per month, and nearly 500,000 people subscribe to my weekly email newsletter. a number that's so far beyond my when I began expectation when I began that I'm not even sure what to think of it. Next chapter: how this book will how this book will benefit you. The entrepreneur and investor Naval Ravikant has said to write a great book you must first become the book. I originally learned about the ideas mentioned here because I had to live them. I had to rely on small habits to rebound from my injury, to get stronger in the gym, to perform at a high level in the field and become a writer, to build a structure, to build a successful business, and simply to develop into a responsible adult. My habits helped me fulfill my potential, and since you picked up this book, I'm guessing you'd like to fulfill yours as well. In the pages that follow, I will share a step by step plan for building better habits, not for days or for weeks, but for a lifetime. While sciences support everything I have written in this book, is not academic research paper. It's an operating manual. You'll find wisdom, practical advice front and center as I explain the science of how to create and change habits in a way that is easy to understand and apply. The fields I draw on biology, neuroscience, philosophy, psychology, and more have been around me for years. What I offer you is a synthesis of the best ideas smart people figured out long time ago, as well as most compelling discoveries scientists have made recently. My contribution, I hope, is to find the ideas that matter most and connect them in a way that is highly actionable. Anything anything wise in these pages you should credit to the many experts who preceded me. Anything foolish, assume it is my error. The backbone of this book is my four-step model of habits: cue, craving, response, and reward. Cue, craving, response, and reward. And these four laws of behavior change that evolve out of these steps. Reader with a psychology background may recognize some of these terms from operant conditioning, which was first proposed as stimulus response reward by B.F. Skinner in the 1930s, and has been popularized more recently as cue routine reward. The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. Behavioral scientists like Skinner realized that if you offer the right reward or punishment, you could get people to act in a certain way. But while Skinner's model did an excellent job of explaining how external stimuli influenced our habits, it lacked a good explanation for how our thoughts, feelings, and belief impact our behavior. Internal states, our mood, Internal states, our moods, and emotions matter too. In in recent decades, scientists have begun to determine the connection between our thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Our thoughts, feelings, and behavior. This research, was, this research will also be covered in these pages. In total, the framework I offer is an integrated model of the cognitive and behavioral science. I believe it is one of the first models of human behavior to accurately account for both the influence of external stimuli and internal emotions on our habits. While some of the language may be familiar, I am confident that the details as the application of four laws of behavioral change will offer a new way of thinking about your habits. Human behavior is always changing, situation to situation, moment to moment, second to second. But this book is about what doesn't change. It's about the fundamentals of human behavior, the lasting principles you can rely on year after year, the ideas you can build a business around, build a family around, build a life around. There is no one right way to create better habits, but this book describes the an approach that will be best way I know, an approach that will be effective regardless of whether you start, or, or you are trying to change. or what you are trying to change. The strategies I cover will be relevant to anyone looking for a step by step system for improvement, whether your goals center on health, money, productivity, relationships, or any of the above. As long as human behavior is involved, this book will be your guide. Uh, this is chapter number. Yeah, so this is the first chapter. Okay, so up until now I was reading introduction, and now I have to go to the first chapter, which is the fundamentals. Why tiny changes make a big difference. Okay. First chapter, the surprising power of atomic habits. The fate of British cycling changed one day in 2003. The organization, which was the governing body for professional cycling in Great Britain, had recently hired Dave Brailsford as its new performance director. At the time, professional cyclists in Great Britain had endured nearly 100 years of mediocrity. Since 1908, British riders had won just a single gold medal at the Olympic Games, and they had fared even worse in cycling biggest race. And they had fared even worse in cycling's biggest race, the Tour de France. In 110 years, no British cyclist had ever won the event. In fact, the performance of British riders had been so underwhelming that one of the top bike manufacturers in Europe refused to sell bikes to the team because they were afraid that it would hurt sales if other professionals saw the Brits using their gear. Brailsford had been hired to put British cycling on a new trajectory. What made him different from previous coaches was his relentless commitment to a strategy that he referred to as the aggregation of marginal gains. Aggregation of marginal gains, which was the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. Brailsford said the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike, and then improve it by 1%, you will get significant increase when you put them all together. Brailsford and his coaches began by making small adjustments you might expect from a professional cycling team. They redesigned the bike seats you might expect from a professional cycling team. They redesigned the bike seats to make them more comfortable and rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip. They asked riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature while riding, and use biofeedback sensors to monitor how each athlete responded to a particular workout. The team tested various fabric in a wind tunnel and had their outdoor riders switch to indoor racing suits, which proved to be lighter and more aerodynamic. But they didn't stop there. Brailsford and his team continued to find 1% improvements in overlooked and unexpected areas. They tested different types of massage gels to see which one led to the fastest muscle recovery. They hired a surgeon to tell each rider the best way to wash their hands to reduce the chances of catching cold. They determined the type of pillow and mattress that led to best night's sleep for each rider. They even painted the inside of team truck white, which helped them spot little bits of dust that would normally slip by unnoticed, but could degrade the performance of the finely tuned bikes. As these and hundreds of other small improvements accumulated, the results came faster than anyone could have imagined. Just 5 years after Brailsford took over, the British cycling team dominated the road and track cycling events in the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, where they won an astounding 60% of gold medals available. 4 years later, when the Olympic Games came to London, the Brits raised the bar as they set 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. The same year, Bradley Wiggins became the first British cyclist to win the Tour de France. The next year, his teammate Chris Froome won the race, and he would go on to win again in 2015, 16, and 17, giving the British team 5 Tour de France victories in 6 years. During the 10-year span from 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won 178 World Championships and 66 Olympic or Paralympic gold medals and captured 5 Tour de France victories in what is widely regarded as the most successful run in cycling history. How does this happen? How does a team of previously ordinary athletes transform into world champions with tiny changes at first glance would seem to make a modest difference at best? Why do small improvements accumulate to such remarkable results, and how can you replicate this approach in your own life? Why small habits make a big difference? It's so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimating the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive actions, whether it is losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning a championship, or even achieving any other goal. We put pressure on ourselves to make some earth shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. Meanwhile, improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable, but it can be far more meaningful, especially in the long run. The difference a tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. Here's how the math works out. If you can get 1% better, if you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you are done. 1% better each day for 1 year. You'll end up 37 times better by the time you are done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you will decline nearly down to zero. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much more. There is also a graph given here. You can see it. Okay. The figure shows the effects of small habits compounded over time. For example, if you can get just 1% better each day, you will end up with results that are nearly 37 times better after 1 year. Okay. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They make they seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the month and years can be enormous. It is only when looking back 2, 5, or perhaps 10 years later that the value of good habits and the cost of bad ones becomes stinkingly apparent. This can be a difficult concept to appreciate in daily life. We often dismiss small changes because they don't seem to matter very much in the moment. If you save a little money now, you are still not a millionaire. If you go to the gym 3 days in a row, you're still out of shape. If you study Mandarin for an hour tonight, you still haven't learned the language. We make a few changes, but the result never seems to come quickly, so we slide back into our previous routine. Unfortunately, the slow pace of transformation also makes it easy to let a bad habit slide. Okay, so unfortunately, the slow pace of transformation also makes it easy to let a bad habit slide. If you eat an unhealthy meal today, the scale the scale doesn't move much. If you work late tonight and ignore your family, they will forgive you. If you procrastinate and put your project off until tomorrow, there will usually be time to finish it later. A single decision is easy to dismiss, but when we repeat 1% errors day by day, day after day, the by replicating poor decisions, duplicating tiny mistakes, and rationalizing little excuses, our small choices compound into toxic results. It's the accumulation of small missteps, a 1% decline here and there, that eventually leads to a problem. The impact created by change in a habit is similar to the effects of shifting the route of an airplane by just a few degrees. Imagine you are flying from Los Angeles to New York City. If a pilot leaving from LAX adjusts the heading just 3.5 degrees south, you will land in Washington DC instead of New York. Just a small change is barely noticeable at takeoff. The nose of the plane moves noticeable at takeoff. The nose of the plane moves just a few feet, but when magnified across the entire United States, you'll end up hundreds of miles apart. Similarly, a slight change in your daily habits can guide your life to very different destinations. Making a choice that is 1% better or 1% worse seem insignificant in the moment, but over the span of moments that make. Hey everyone, the video got paused because of overheating in my phone. Uh, there were only 39 seconds left. I paused the video. You can see, I don't know if you can see this. There were just 39 seconds left. I'll continue it right now. And uh, so there was success is a product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations. That said, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path towards success. You should be far more concerned with your current path towards success, your current trajectory, than what your current than with your current results. If you are a millionaire, but you spend more time than your that you spend more than you are on each month, then you are on a bad trajectory. So 20 minutes are over, and I would like to uh, summarize what I read today, because as I told yesterday, I don't know whether it was recorded or not. I'll try to read everything in a day and then summarize it at the end of it. By this, I'll not be just reading everything from a book, but I'll be putting my perspective out also, and it will be helpful for me to analyze whether I have improved in my speaking skills on my own or not. As you can see right now, I'm not that good. I hope that I get 1% better each day. Yeah. So what I read today was, first, the author's reasons to write this book. First, he started publishing a newsletter on his email, which drastically gained so many subscribers. Then that he got a deal with Penguin Random House. Then he wrote a book for 3 years, I guess, and then gave so many speeches, conferences all across the country and Europe also. Yeah, so after that he talked about his book, how this book will benefit us, you and me, by telling how he wrote this book. From where did he take his inspiration? All the philosophies and all the researches he took to analyze and implement it is in implement it in his own life, and then uh, write a book about it. All the researches like uh, The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. Uh, Stimuli Response Reward by B.F. Skinner. All these references he gave, and after that he talked about what this book is going to be based upon, and he told it's based upon four-step model of habits. That's cue, craving, response, and reward. I think cue is I don't know what cue is. Let me search it up. Cue. A word or movement that is a signal for somebody else to say, or like it's a signal. It's an example, not an example. It's a word or a movement that is a signal for somebody else to say or do something, especially in a play. Okay. Cue, craving. I think everybody knows. I cannot explain it right now. I'll try to explain it. Craving is the urge to achieve something, if that makes sense. Yeah, let me put this camera on center. And then response is the reflex, the reaction everyone gives. And reward, I think everybody knows what reward is. Reward is what you get after a work. It can be positive reward, or it can be a negative reward. So it's based on this four-step model, the fundamentals of this book. Then he started with example of British cycling in this to explain the surprising power of atomic habits. By atomic he meant small habits, small changes each day, which when combined can lead to very big results. And for example, he gave the British cycling how they excelled after their coach, what was his name, Brailsford, arrived, and they won so many tournaments, Olympics, and the greatest cycling competition, that is Tour de France. That's great. And he also talked about why small habits makes a big difference. I was reading that. No, I did read that. Yeah. So he talked about very small habits that isn't even noticeable. How can they influence in a long term? He explained it using compound interest in money concepts. And it can go both ways. If you are doing good habits, if you are following good habits in small duration, for a long duration, by very small habits each day for a long duration, that would lead to take you to a better place or a better position than you are at right now. On the other hand, if you take wrong decisions, even if they are very minute, for a long time, that would take your progress to zero. So I think I'm at zero right now. I have to improve. It's very important for me right now. Now, how habits compound. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Yeah. He also gave an example of if a pilot changes direction of the plane by just few degrees, in short term where they wouldn't even notice the difference, but if they travel for a long time, the destination would be miles apart, like hundreds of miles apart. That's what he was trying to say. That's it. I just read 1 or 2, 3 lines more. Yeah, that's it. I'm on page number 18 right now. It might be jumbled because I'm using my front camera, but it's 18. You can see this table. Okay. Yeah. Let me put my bookmark on. Yeah. I would like you guys to give your honest feedback, as it would be very helpful for me, whether the video quality is bad or the audio is not good. Anything you feel like, you can comment down below. Please leave a like if you want. If you don't want, don't leave it. Just watch it. I don't know. I'm doing it for myself. I don't think anyone would be interested in watching me to read for 20 minutes straight, or talking for that matter, because I'm not that interesting right now. So that's it for today. Thank you. It's currently 1:21. I don't know if you can see, 1:21 at night. I'll transport this video to my laptop and then upload it, or I'll do it today in the evening because I have to go to college also. After coming back from college I might do it, or right now I'll do it. Let's see. Good night.